I'm not defensive. I'm just smarter than you. On today's episode, we need to have a conversation about being an intelligent, direct woman and allowing people to take responsibility for themselves and how they show up in the world and how they are or are not the leaders of their own minds. Let's talk about writing for a minute. Let's talk about what an essay is supposed to be. I know a lot of people didn't learn this because of the quality of the education that they received. So let's start this off with a little English lesson. Your essay is meant to have a couple key elements. The first thing that your essay needs to have in that first paragraph, at the end of the first paragraph, you're going to need to have a thesis statement. This is your claim. This is your argument. This is your opinion. This is your perspective. Your thesis statement. The running joke online goes like people saying their thought and opinion and then saying, in this essay, I will. It's a running joke. It's a funny joke. When you're actually writing an essay, you don't have to say the phrase, in this essay, I will blank, because you just do the thing. In this essay, I will explain why you don't have to say that, because you're just going to do the thing. Your thesis is your claim. How do I know what you're going to talk about in this essay? Your thesis statement. Now, your entire essay is written around and in support of your thesis statement. Your essay is your argument. So you've got a thesis statement in your first paragraph. This is what I think. This is what I feel. This is what I know. This is what I believe. After you have that first paragraph, which is your introduction paragraph, and you've got your thesis statement at the end of that paragraph, you then have supporting paragraphs. These supporting paragraphs are groups of arguments with supportive evidence and explanations that back up the claim that you've made in your thesis statement. So in your thesis statement, maybe you say, Beyonce is the greatest artist of all time. That's your claim. That would be a really simple thesis statement, but whatever. Beyonce is the greatest artist of all time, period. That's your thesis statement. In your supporting paragraphs, you would then need to bring out evidence. Maybe you talk about how Beyonce continues to break records in her tours for the highest amount of money made and all of this stuff. I think Cowboy Carter was like the highest grossing country music tour of all time. Maybe you talk about the records that she breaks. Maybe in another paragraph, you talk about she also doesn't just conform to one genre. She's done country, she's done house, she's done pop, she's done R&B. She's incredibly versatile. The greatest artist of all time, of course, would need to be someone who is versatile. She's incredibly talented. She can dance. She can sing. She can act. She's an amazing showwoman, and she puts on these incredibly elaborate shows, right? You make your thesis statement. You bring in your supportive evidence. And your entire essay is just a collection of thoughts that support that thesis statement. And then your conclusion paragraph is you wrapping it all up, tying it all together, putting a neat fucking bow on it, and saying, boom. Being able to craft a good essay is being able to make a solid argument. Being able to craft a good essay is having the skill of making a claim and backing that claim up. We are living in a world where sometimes people don't know how to make a claim and then back it up with supportive evidence and thought. So when they interact with a woman like me, who knows how to argue in favor of her desires, hint, 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 this is what I teach you how to do in my signature amazing fucking program. It's called The Receiver's Mindset. Enroll in it, it'll change your life. I am someone who has thoughts and who has opinions and who has beliefs and who has a way of being, thinking, talking, behaving, expecting. And everything that I do and every way that I behave is backed up by years of personal life experience and research, workshops, courses, working one-on-one with coaches. When you are having a conversation with me about anything, there's always a debate being had. There's always an argument being made. Now, when I'm having a conversation with a woman who I agree with and I align with, we're just making the same argument. And so our conversation looks like me saying one thing and then her saying, oh my God, yes. And then adding on her supporting evidence, her life experience, her thought process. And then me saying, oh my God, I love that so much. And in addition to what you've said, I also think this and I also feel this. And it also reminds me of this and this and this. And there's a conversation that feels like a flow and it feels like this energy of going back and forth. And there's like a synergy there and there's a compatibility there. And those are the conversations with people that we really love and enjoy having. I am a genuine and authentic woman. I'm also a brilliant woman. When you come into my life and you come into my world, I'm not going to pretend and I'm not going to tap dance. I'm not going to back down from my opinion. When we are having a conversation and I disagree with something that has been said and I have a differing opinion, I'm going to express that, period. Because I'm a genuine, authentic woman. And I don't care if you disagree. And if you have the desire to change my mind, then you have to be an excellent debater. You have to be someone who has a claim and supporting evidence. There is critical thought that is required to engage with me. There is critical thought that is required to engage in conversation with me. And this makes me a wonderful conversationalist. I'm not great in conversation because every single time we have a conversation, I just agree with everything that you've said, and I do things and I say things and I behave in a way that's supposed to make you happy and supposed to get a positive response and reaction from you. My job is not to behave in a way wherein I'm attempting to micromanage your emotions with the things that I say. My job is not to water down my opinion. My job is not to water down my perspective because I want you to like me. Everybody wants to be a diva until it's time to be a bitch. Let's talk about what it means to be a bitch. Really, it just means you're a woman who's assertive. You're a woman who's strong-willed. You're a woman who's brilliant. You're a woman who's smart. They hate it when you do that. I'm the HBBIC, head big black bitch in charge. What do you think that means? What do you think that came from? Me giving myself the title, by the way, that's what they're calling me out there in the world. That's what they're calling me out there in the world. Sometimes it might look like an anonymous account calling me a fat ass, but really what they're saying is, yeah, the HBBIC, exactly. The HBBIC conversation came about. I was sitting on the side of my house and I'm talking with my ancestors and we're just having a conversation and we're reflecting. I'm reflecting on past experiences and my life and a lot of shit that happened when I was in high school. We've talked about this in previous podcast episodes, so we don't need to go deep into it today. But basically, I had a lot of experiences where I was getting in trouble for the things that I was saying, but I was standing up for myself and people were doing fucked up things to me, but instead of addressing the fucked up things that were being done to me, they were trying to police my tone. It doesn't matter that you were disrespected. It doesn't matter that you faced racism. It doesn't matter that you faced discrimination. It doesn't matter that you feel unsafe and unwelcome in this environment. You should have never said she was a bitch. Which, first of all, they very intentionally ignored the context. Either they're racist or they're illiterate. Probably both, but that's another conversation for another time. Oh, 2.5 seconds. 2.5. We need a 2.5 to talk about illiteracy. We need a 2.5 to talk about illiteracy. Illiteracy. We have to talk about reading comprehension. Not just within our nation, I'm an American, but within the fucking world. Because I have a global platform, sometimes things get misconstrued. I'm an English speaker. Maybe English isn't your first language and, different things like that. But we have to have a conversation about reading comprehension. Just because you can read a sentence does not mean that you have the capacity to comprehend what you have just read. You might be able to read the sentence, the brown dog jumped in a puddle of mud, but that does not mean that after you've read that sentence and somebody asks you a question, and they say, what color was the dog and what did the dog do? Just because you can read the sentence, the brown dog jumped into the mud, does not mean you have the capacity to comprehend. I've just read a one-line story about a dog whose fur was brown, who jumped into a puddle of mud. What's the color of the dog? The dog is brown. What did the dog do? The dog jumped into a puddle of mud. What might the consequences be in this story after the dog jumped into the puddle of mud? Maybe the story is going to talk about how his coat was different, how his color was impacted by the mud. Or maybe the dog is going to go into the house and he's going to track mud and there's going to be muddy little paw prints all over the house. You have to be able to read. You have to be able to comprehend what is being communicated to you. I had an experience on live with a woman. This was Tuesday night. I'm going to read an excerpt from the post that I did about it because I love how I explained the most important parts of what happened. Hold on, I have to pull up my Pages app. Give me a second. Because I'm just recording this one and done, and I don't want to go through and edit it. I'm finding it. Hold on. Okay. On Tuesday evening, I was live on YouTube having a conversation with an ex-subscriber. I asked her what she'd been up to and what was alive within her world. As a part of her response, she was describing a challenging time in her life, and she said, quote unquote, I don't have a choice, blah, 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 blah. Naturally, I commented on that phrasing because we always have a choice. Whether we're being patient or we're expecting disappointment or we're holding faith that our desires are manifesting or we're living in the state of our wish fulfilled, it's all a choice. In response to her comment, I began to talk about choice. I don't believe the universe is ever forcing you to be patient. If I was speaking from an empowered place, I might say it feels the best for me to be patient and rest at this time. But the truth is, I don't ever practice patience. I am of the firm belief that manifestation is quote unquote now. When I tap into the vibration of my desire, I am speaking as if I have the money and the love now. I am speaking as if I have my dream life now. I am never looking at my physical reality and thinking, quote unquote, I just have to be patient. I'm never waiting. I'm looking at my physical reality and I'm looking at the fears and limiting beliefs being triggered. I'm shifting my limiting beliefs and debunking stories that say I can't have what I want right here and right now. And then I am tapping back into the vibration of my desired reality. I have it now. It's already mine. I'm on the other side. This is how I manifest. This is what it means to be the leader of your mind and the co-creator of your reality. As I explained this during the live stream, the subscriber commented saying, I didn't mean it in that way. She said that her comment was just her trying to make conversation, and I let her know that that didn't make sense to me. Our thoughts are not random, and my expertise, which I have spent nearly a decade practicing, is in using your words to identify your limiting beliefs. When I am having conversations with people, I can typically see, feel, and sense the limiting beliefs underneath their words. I quite literally get paid to do so. And sometimes people aren't ready to hear or confront what I see. This community member was not ready to hear or confront what I saw. She said I was a difficult person to talk to and have casual conversation with. I said, I'm live on YouTube to work, not to have the quote unquote casual friend conversation she's expecting. I don't do surface level bullshit, and I'm not the kind of person who is going to respond, quote unquote, all that sucks to any comment. I am the kind of woman who speaks and responds thoughtfully. I'm not the kind of woman who sees another woman playing small and just says, okay. I'm the kind of woman who shares her perspective and opinion, especially on the social media platforms that I have built. And I like it that way. In fact, I prefer it that way. The multi-6-figure and multi-7-figure women who I invest money to learn from operate in this way as well. Successful women don't entertain bullshit. They're the kind of women who share their opinion, even if they're the only one who will agree. Every time I get the chance to be around successful women, a successful woman who's farther along than me, I hang on to her words. I open up to her perspective when she's pointing out the traits within me that are keeping me stuck. And this is why when I get into the room with successful women, I'm aware of where I am and I'm aware that I want growth. I'm ready for growth. I'm not attached to being right or appearing like I have it all together. I'm willing to be wrong because my increase is more important to me than my ego. That particular ex-subscriber wasn't ready to hear what I had to say, and that's okay. But I'm not obligated to share less of my opinion or to respond in a way that doesn't challenge others. And I'm not obligated to be seen as, quote unquote, the kind of woman who's easy to have a conversation with. I am brilliant and opinionated. I am talkative, I am interesting, and I am challenging. And those traits make me the kind of woman who leaves you better, stronger, sharper, and more confident after connecting with her. That community member made it clear that she didn't appreciate my communication style. And I made it clear that the kind of woman committed to her own powerlessness isn't someone I want to serve in my community. Okay. Yes, I can finish the post in a second, but that's the most relevant for this conversation that we're having at this point in the episode. So basically, somebody comes onto the live, shares a thought, and in response to their thought, I share my perspective, my argument. She said, I don't have a choice. I said, it's interesting that you would say that you don't have a choice. In my perspective and my opinion and the way that I work, this is how I think. I always feel that we always have a choice. This is why, this is why, this is why. I made a claim, a thesis statement, and I had supportive evidence rooted in my spiritual beliefs and principles, my thoughts about the law of assumption, the power of our minds, so on and so forth. Because I'm an excellent debater. I am always going to make an argument. Every single time I open my motherfucking mouth, I'm making a claim. You don't have to agree with my claim. That's fine. But if I don't agree with something that you've said, in her sentence, she quite literally said, I don't have a choice. She was making a claim. I said, I disagree with the claim that you're making. We always have a choice. This is how I see the world. This is how I show up. Just because you like and share and comment and subscribe does not mean that I stop sharing my opinion. Just because you show up and talk on a live stream does not mean I'm not allowed to share my opinion. So I make this entire post on social media, and I post every single day, Monday through Friday, typically, mostly. I try, it's our goal. I do one post Monday through Friday, and that post will be about whatever it is that we're selling at the time, because this is a business. So if I'm posting and I'm talking about the receiver's mindset, and something goes on in my life, and I go, as I'm reflecting, this is such a great conversation to bring to my audience, I'm going to do that. And that's why we're talking about these experiences on today's podcast episode. Because this is my motherfucking life. And my job as a life coach is to take my life experiences, turn them into lessons, take shit, alchemize it into gold, and let you know my thought process, the way that I see the world, and the tools that I used to get from point A to point B. That's my job. That's what we do here. Hi, if you're new, you're listening to Naked and Noisy, Manifestation Tools for the Professional Woman. I'm your host, Natalie Hughes. I'm a life mindset and manifestation coach. In my business and on my platform, I help professional women to co-create emotionally fulfilled and purpose-driven lives for themselves. That's what I do. That's the whole reason why we're here. I'm not here to give you only a psychic reading about your soulmate. I'm here to help you heal from your past so you can not only get your soulmate, but you can actually have an emotionally fulfilled relationship. I don't know if you know this or not, but it doesn't matter if the guy is here and you have a ring on your finger if you're still telling the story that you're the woman who's not supported. You're going to be married and supported. We all know a woman who is married and who is still unsupported. I would like a ring. I would like a ring. If you know me, you know I would like a big and shiny diamond. 6-carat oval cut from Tiffany or better. I'm really not picky. I'm not picky at all. That's what they say. You ask around about me. You say, what do you know about Natalie Hughes? They say, The girl who wants a 6 carat oval cut diamond ring, but she's not really picky about the place as long as it's from Tiffany or better. That's what they say. That's what they say. It's the conversation around town that's had about me. Yes, we all know I would like a ring. Yes, we all know I would like to be married. But I don't want to be in a relationship and I'm fucking suffering. I love my audience and I love the world. But I don't care that much about what you think. I don't want a ring so that I can have a ring so that other people can see, wow, do you know that Natalie's married? That doesn't do shit for me. Do I have the desire to be a source of inspiration? Yes, but I have the desire to be a very particular source of inspiration. When I talk about my accolades and I talk about my success and I talk about the things that I am co-creating in my life and I win, which I have won and continue to do so, I am not creating a narrative where you look at me and you think, wow, she has the perfect life and she has absolutely no problems. And then behind closed doors, my life is shitty. That's not my dream. I'm not the woman who plays pretend. I'm not willing to lie and curate an image of being more than I am. I want to be genuine and I want to be authentic. So when you see me win and you see me thrive and you see me get the things that I want and desire in my life, you can actually see yourself being in my shoes. You can actually look at me and say, if Natalie Hughes can do it, and she had all of those fucked up beliefs, if Natalie Hughes can do it, and she had such a fucked up early life, then I can also do that. I can also create that. Don't just want to be married. I want to be in an emotionally fulfilled relationship where I'm seen, loved, cherished, taken care of, shown up for emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, mind, body, soul. I want what I want. And obviously I get to have that. But that's neither here nor there. What's my point? What was my point? Was that a 215? Why was I talking about this? I was talking about a ring. I was talking about my ideal relationship. I was talking about being a source of inspiration. I was talking about being real. I was talking about being authentic. When I began talking, I know that I wanted to make it very clear that I don't just desire to have a life that looks good. I desire to have a life that feels good. But how does this align with the conversation that we were just having about making an argument, not being an argumentative person, but being a woman who is an excellent debater? I'm not defensive. I'm just intelligent. And you're just not intelligent enough to keep up. You just don't have a strong enough argument to persuade me to feel differently. Oh, yeah. I don't perform for the likes and the shares and the comments and the subscribes. So if you don't fucking like it, you don't have to be here ever. Do I have the desire to be a source of inspiration? Yes. But before I want to inspire you, I want to have a life that I actually fucking love. Yes, I want you to look at me in the life that I create and say, wow, if she can do that, I can do that too. But before I am a source of inspiration to you, baby, I need to be happy. I need to be fulfilled. What kind of prison sentence is that? Patrick Mahomes, who's no longer my arch nemesis because I pity the man. Beautiful example. You got the Super Bowl rings. You got the success. You have the fame. You have the money. You have a wife. She's skinny. She's white. She's blonde. Her eyes are probably a shade other than brown. I don't know, honestly. Don't give a damn. She looks, nope, don't go there. Let's just say it's not my dream, but he is living the dream of many, many people. And then you actually get to peek behind the curtain in a famous interview, one of my favorite interviews of all time. Just a simple fucking Q&A. Mind you, it was optional. If I knew that my wife really didn't know me, we wouldn't have done that fucking interview, personally. Anyway, so they're doing this Q&A thing, whatever. And they're like, Patrick Mahomes, what's your favorite food? Oh no, Patrick Mahomes' wife. What's his favorite cheat day meal? And she says, fried chicken. Nope, that's not it. And then she says, Southern fried steak or Southern fried chicken or is it the same thing? It's fried chicken. Yeah, whatever. She says watermelon. Okay. He's like, no. Which, first of all, you guys are married, but you guys are fucking enemies. Because if I was living a life that was a facade, and I was living a life where I just wanted people to think that I had it all, but I really didn't, and I knew that my wife really didn't fucking know me like that, after she said the cheat day meal and it was the wrong one, her second response, I would have been like, yeah, that's it. Cannot get enough of watermelon. I eat it every single fucking day. Exactly. You know me. Like, when you're doing improv, the rule is yes and. You're supposed to agree with your scene partner and add on to what they're saying. Anyway, what's my point? Patrick Mahomes is living my nightmare. An experience where I'm married and famous and wealthy and I have children. Let's not even get into the children of it all. And I go to sleep every night with a woman in a bed or a man in a bed and he doesn't fucking know me. He doesn't know the food that I like to eat. He doesn't know my favorite cheat day meal, which I don't have a favorite cheat day meal. I have favorite meals. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know my desires. To be known is to be loved. If you don't know me, then you don't love me. That's my nightmare. That doesn't sound like living the dream. That sounds like a fucking prison. Where everything looks beautiful and everything is aesthetically pleasing and everything meets the Western beauty standard, which is rooted in white supremacist delusion, and it's fake. It's an illusion. It's a facade. So I'm surrounded by beautiful things, but I feel like shit. The devil is a lie and a deceiver. That sounds like my nightmare. So although I would love to be a source of inspiration for you, you and your perception and what you think of me is not the main motivator for my actions, for what I'm co-creating in my life. This shit is about me. This is about what makes me happy. This is about what's going to fulfill me. This is about the desires of my heart coming to fruition. This is about the co-creative process between me and God. This is about how me and God are teaming up to break generational curses and to build generational wealth, not just a generational wealth of money, but a generational wealth of happiness, a generational wealth of fulfillment, a generational wealth of creative self-expression, a generational wealth of freedom. That's my assignment. That's my job. I was always going to do that because that's just how I am. The internet shit and the platform shit and the social media shit, this is extra. This is a cherry on top. This is the vehicle through which I am achieving my dreams and walking out that purpose of helping other women to do the same. This is not a fucking popularity contest for me. Never gave a fuck about being popular. Thank God. I would sit and reflect on moments in my life where I just felt like an outcast and I felt like I didn't belong and I felt like I wasn't good enough at all of these things. And I say, thank fucking God. because I know what it's like to be by myself, and I know what it's like to enjoy my own company, and I know what it's like to like me so much that even if I woke up tomorrow and all of the followers and that everything was gone, I could still have a pretty good day. I could still be happy. I could still be satisfied with myself. I could still be taken care of. I could still be loved by myself and others and community and my spirits. Like, you know? Okay, so anyway, 2.5 over. 2.5 officially over. Now let's take it back. I don't do this shit for the likes, the shares, the comments, and the subscribes. I do this shit because I care about my authentic self. I don't remember where I was planning on going after that, but we can finish that and let's go back to the original point now. I'm having a conversation with this person who has said something that I don't agree with. I share my argument. I don't agree with that, and this is why, not just with her, but also with my entire audience. She doesn't like that I disagree with her. Now, I'm a difficult person to have a conversation with. That's okay. If you don't like my conversation, if you don't like being around me, being a member of my audience is optional. You can always leave. You can always unsubscribe. I really like you having that option. I really emphasize that option. And I try not to overemphasize it in a way where you feel like I'm pushing you out, but I really want to make it known and I really want to make it abundantly clear because I am the kind of woman that people are very attracted to, and I am destined for fame and all of those things, and I am spiritual and I am a leader. And so I really don't want the cult allegations to happen, and a part of me not participating or creating any availability for the cult allegations to happen is for me to make it abundantly clear that being here is 110% fucking optional, and the second that it stops working for you, I think you should leave. I'd love it. I hate talking to bitches that it's not working for. You must hate being around me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's better for everybody. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. I believe in that. That's okay. So anyway, I write this whole entire post on social media and somebody else comments. It's a profile that I've never spoken to in my life, meaning it's a commenter that I don't recognize. Now, when you have social media platforms, there are certain people who I recognize. If you're always in the comment section, if you're always liking the Instagram stories, or you're liking the posts, or things are resonating with you, or you're swiping up on the Instagram stories and we're having a cute little back and forth in the DMs, or you're responding to my emails, I'll know you. I'll see you. I'll know that avatar. I'll know your username. As I've done this for many, many years, there's a lot of you who have been following me for a very long time. I know you. I know things about your life. I know things about your story. Sometimes I really genuinely try my best to remember things about people. Because you're not just numbers to me, you are human beings. So there are people that I know, and then of course there are people who I don't know. So this person comments, I don't recognize their username. Hold on, let's pull it up. Let's pull up the receipts. I'm okay with paraphrasing. But why paraphrase when we have it right here? So somebody comments and says, hey, I love your vids and readings and I'm always supportive of you. But I was there during that live last night and I wasn't sure if that girl was trying to be harmful. It seemed like an innocent convo since you did ask how everyone was doing. Not trying to anger you at all, just saying an opinion. Now, the fatphobic comment was completely out of line from that other user, but the other girl was just trying to chat with you to see this up here. So to see this up here is kind of weird. Again, not trying to anger you, but these are just my thoughts. First of all, my public platform is not a fucking discussion anything. You don't have to be here. You're also not entitled to an opinion over here. I'm just trying to share my opinion. That's fine. You want to have an opinion, go on to Reddit. You want to have a discussion, go on to Reddit. I did have a discussion with this person. I was open to having a discussion with this person, but outside of that, let me be abundantly clear. We don't have a relationship where you get to just say, well, I just disagree, and this is just my opinion on my platform. You want to share your differing opinion, you want to craft your thesis and your argument, you can do that somewhere else. And the reason why I'm saying this is about to be abundantly clear. So this woman makes this comment. I respond to the comment, and I said, I never said she was trying to be harmful. Try reading the post again with the intention to understand. Then the profile comments again and says, I did read, but you mentioned boundaries and did sort of frame it in a way like she was being problematic. But like I said, I don't want to upset you. I just don't agree with how you did this one thing. And then she writes another comment and she says, and when people are mentioning stuff about having a different opinion, you seem defensive about it. As I said, it's just my opinion. I don't mean to ruffle any feathers. How were my feathers ruffled when I said, I never said she was trying to be harmful? Try reading the post again with the intention to understand. What about that comment would imply that my feathers were ruffled? Nothing. That person commented with the expectation that I was going to be angry, that I was going to fight, that I was going to be argumentative. And we see this all throughout everything that they've said. Number one, they've commented, I don't mean to ruffle any feathers, when nothing about my sentence implies that my feathers were ruffled. I didn't use an exclamation mark. I didn't say a single cuss word. I didn't say fuck you for disagreeing. I said try reading the post again with the intention to understand, because it's very clear by the original comment that they made that they read the post, but they did not comprehend the post. They read the post, but they did not comprehend the post. They've said, I wasn't sure if that girl was trying to be harmful. At no point in my original post that I made for social media did I say or assert or infer that she was trying to be harmful to me or anyone else. Well, I did say that her thought process would ultimately be harmful to her because she's clearly committed to being powerless. Not just based on that one statement. Me and that woman have had interactions before. Do you think that conversation just fell out of a coconut tree? That conversation exists within the context. A part of reading comprehension as you get older and as you grow is not just understanding that the brown dog jumped into the puddle. You also must learn about context. What are some of the first things that you do when you are given an article or a book? You're going to ask yourself the question about the time period that it was written in. The time period that the artist was in when they wrote the book, the author. Also the setting. What time period does the book take place in? There's a lot of conversations about Wuthering Heights. I've never read the book, but there's a lot of discourse happening about it online, and people who love the book and people who are really into the English world. Of course, I'm very much into the critiquing world and the film world, so I'm there. And also, of course, in the English world because I read. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, there's a lot of conversation and critique about this latest adaptation of the Wuthering Heights book. And in one of the videos, a creator is talking about how the book was written by a woman within a particular time, but she intentionally moved the setting of the book to a previous point in time. So let's say the book was written in 1840, but she intentionally set the book in 1820. When I am reading that book and I am analyzing that text, my awareness of the woman who wrote it, how old she was, and the time period wherein she was as she wrote that, that's going to impact my analysis of that novel. That's going to impact my understanding, my comprehension of that novel. I'm also going to look at the setting of that novel. Inside of the book, where does it actually take place? Oh, in 19 or 1820, whatever. I'm not saying real, historically accurate anything. I don't know anything about the Wuthering Heights book. It's just a really great example. I need to understand the setting in the actual book, and I also need to understand the author and where the author is coming from in order to fully comprehend any text. Reading comprehension is fucking fundamental. This person commented, but they do not have the reading comprehension skills to engage meaningfully with me on this topic. I knew they didn't have the reading comprehension skills when their first sentence said, I'm not sure if she was trying to be harmful. It was an innocent conversation. This post is kind of weird. First of all, bitch, I'm from California. Calling somebody weird? Those are fighting words. Did I respond to those comments with fighting words? No. Was I insulted that the little bitch called me weird? Yes. Can you tell that I'm insulted that the little bitch called me weird? Yes. How can you tell that I'm insulted? Because I'm now calling the commenter a little bitch. Okay. It was kind of weird. Her claim, there's a million different claims that are going on in this one comment. Number one, her claim is she's reading my post, and from her understanding, I think that the original conversation where the woman said I'm a difficult person to talk to, from this commenter's perspective, she thinks that I'm under the impression that the original event was one woman trying to be hurtful. Fuck, this is too hard. This is too hard. We have to have names because there's too much she and they and blah, blah, blah. There's me. There's the hard person to talk to woman. And then there's this comment who their username starts with Z. So we'll say Z. And then the person who made the original comment, you're a hard person to talk to, their name starts with T. So we'll say T. Z reads my post about my interaction with T. Z comes to the conclusion after reading my post that I am under the impression that T was trying to be harmful. That's not true. There's nothing within the text that suggests that I was ever under the impression that T was trying to be harmful. I never said T was trying to be harmful. Were there moments in her text where she was very clearly trying to be harmful? Yes, but that's another conversation for another time. I do have an argument to be made there, and I do have supportive evidence, not just within the live chat conversation, but with the emails that T later sent me the following day. when she got my newsletter, opened it, and then responded saying, I'm a disgusting, terrible person. And I will never be successful. And she said, you have built an empire, but you put other women down. And to that I say, you think I built an empire, girl? You see that? You believe that? Hold the vision of that diva. Hold the vision of that diva. You can keep praying for the girl's downfall and demise. That's not anything new. But hold the vision of that. You think I built an empire? I mean, it is a global brand. It is a global brand. Anyway, focus. So this commenter keeps saying, I'm not trying to anger you. I'm not trying to anger you. Now, that, she said it multiple times. In the first comment, not trying to anger you. Again, not trying to anger you. What does that phrasing communicate to us about her perspective of me? That I'm somebody who's quick to anger. Now, we do have conversations about me being a hothead. And also, I consider myself to be a reasonable person. I'm also just a Scorpio, and to me, it is that deep. So if you say some disrespectful, offensive shit, am I going to get angry? Absolutely. Because anger is a normal, natural human emotion. And all of our emotions are communication. And if you cross my boundaries and you disrespect me and you treat me in a way that I do not like, I have every right to feel anger. You do not get to control how I feel in response to what you said. But this person Z is trying to control what they anticipate my emotional response to their comment or to them disagreeing with me will be. I'm already entering into a conversation by responding to Z's original comment. I'm already entering into a conversation with somebody who does not see me correctly. You're projecting, you're assuming that I'm going to be angry. You were assuming when you read the post that I was angry because you think that I thought that T's comments were her trying to be harmful. You read that post through the lens that I am angry and I'm making a post because I am angry. I can understand why she might feel that way. She was there during the live. Oh, I was hot during the live for multiple reasons. I wasn't really angry after T's original comment. I was irritated, but I was like, good riddance. You never have to come back. I'm actually over it. I'm over having people like you in my audience. People committed to powerlessness, that is, right? When you're practicing comprehension, you need to understand things about your author. My intention of that post was very clearly not to be mean. Why do I say very clearly? Well, because I'm a businesswoman. And I have been for at least the past 2 months now posting very regularly Monday through Friday. Sometimes we miss a Monday, sometimes we do a Sunday, sometimes we do a Saturday. You're probably going to get 2 to 5 posts from me on social media and on the YouTube community tab. So for Z to say, seeing this post today is kind of weird, is very funny. Because she seems to be inferring, she seems to be saying, you misinterpreted T's intentions as harmful, and now you're bashing her using your public profile just because she disagreed with you. I don't agree with this behavior. This is what she's saying. This is the argument that she's making. And she's wrong. Because when you take into account the context, I love your vids and your readings. What videos of mine do you love? Is it the content on manifestation? Is it the Naked and Noisy podcast? Is it the pick a card readings where at the beginning of every single video I'm saying, well, typically I do my best to say, I'm a life mindset and manifestation coach in my business and on my platform. It's my job to help you co-create an emotionally fulfilled and purpose-driven life for yourself. My job is to reflect on my life experience. My job is to share those lessons with you so that they can help you as well. This is not anything new. When things are going on in my life and in my world, and I'm turning my pain into purpose, we're going to talk about it. I'm turning my challenge into purpose. We're going to talk about it. There will be more posts about this entire situation, by the way, because I have a million different things I want to talk about. This Z person is treating this post as if it's a random one-time thing that I've never done before. It's not a random one-time anything. It happens once a day. And I'm talking about various life experience, and I'm giving various lessons, and I'm dropping various amounts of knowledge. Hold on, we have to finish the post so that you understand. There's knowledge in this. First bit of knowledge was me talking about how I don't ever practice patience. I left that in the post on purpose. Because sure, you're reading a post about how you don't have to be nice to everyone, but also I'm going to give you some manifestation one-on-one good shit as well. I'm teaching, not bullying. I'm literally educating. That's what I do. So, okay. Scrolling, where are we? Okay, we'll pick up where we left off, one paragraph or sentence, whatever, back. That community member made it clear that she didn't appreciate my communication style, and I made it clear that the kind of woman committed to her own powerlessness isn't someone I want to serve in my community. I never said she was harmful. I said she was committed to her own powerlessness. This is not me reading. This is me making a comment. Okay, I'm going to read strictly now. Another commenter, much later in the live, said that my response was rude. And although I have many thoughts about that hater's comment, what I mostly want to say right now is I don't care. Here's the thing. Just because someone likes you doesn't mean you have to like them back. Just because someone wants to connect with you doesn't mean you have to be interested in connecting with them. Attraction does not equal compatibility. And through conversation, we realize who we are compatible with. I don't want to spend my time with people who go on and on about how powerless they are to their life circumstances. I want to spend my time around the kind of women who are committed to creating positive change in their lives. You know, the kind of women who refuse to let their circumstances tell them what they get to have. Those are the kind of women that are destined for greatness. They inspire you. They have a fire burning inside of themselves, and when you get close enough, they ignite you too. I get to be clear about the kinds of students and community members I want to have. It's okay to be a woman with boundaries. That quote-unquote hater I mentioned came onto my live calling me a fat ass and saying that I am rude. The anonymous account said they were going to buy a reading from me, but they didn't because I'm so rude to my audience and I spent so long ranting instead of doing another reading. Here's what I really need you to understand. I don't owe anyone anything. I don't owe anyone niceness if it requires sacrificing my authenticity. I don't owe anyone action if it requires sacrificing my needs. I don't owe anyone any motherfucking thing, and you don't either. That doesn't mean I'm a bully. That doesn't mean I'm not kind. It means I'm authentic. And if I authentically disagree with what you're saying, I get to speak up. I get to use my mind and my mouth and my actions as I please. I get to set up and operate my business as I please. As long as I move in integrity with the law, I'm good. And if you don't like it, You do not have to be here. It's not required. I don't need everyone to like me in order to live an emotionally fulfilled life. But I do need to like myself in order to live an emotionally fulfilled life. I am a Black woman. In my lineage, women who came before me were demonized, fetishized, dehumanized, and enslaved. How many hundreds of years did the women of my family line live quietly because their lives were threatened if they weren't silent? I get to be loud. I get to be Black. I get to be big. I get to take up space. I get to be honest. I get to be me. And if you don't like it, you get to leave. That's the only option. Because me hiding and playing small is not going to happen. For my well-being, for the working and living environment I'm responsible for creating, for the women who came before me, and for future generations. And I've got a big fat fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, those are 3 middle fingers, to anyone who's mad about it. Okay, now, going back and reading the page, I actually understand why this person would infer, I don't want to make you angry. Because in the post, I literally said, fuck you if you disagree. This person saw that, still decided to comment. That's fine. I actually can take back what I said earlier. I understand why they would assume that I would be angry and defensive about it. But in my response to this Z character's comment, I said, I never said she was trying to be harmful. Try reading the post again with the intention to understand. That's all that I said. So she says, when people have a different opinion than you, I did read, I did understand. You mentioned boundaries. You framed it like she was being problematic. I literally did not frame it like she was being problematic. I said I disagree with her thought process. I said I didn't want her as a member of my community. I said I get to make that choice. I never said she was being problematic. Is it problematic to think thoughts that hold you in a state of powerlessness? Well, it's not a choice that I would make. Did I say she was a bad person? Did I say she should be ashamed? Did I say she was going to hell? No. So I responded to Z's additional 2 comments, and I said, using the text only, point out exactly how I quote unquote framed it like she was being problematic. Also, boundaries don't mean she's being mean to me and I'm fighting. Boundaries are an expression of my authenticity. Like I said in the post, I don't have to sacrifice my authentic responses just because someone is not trying to be harmful. I get to respond to any comment with my honest thoughts as I did during the live. And the person Z didn't respond. The reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because the person Z shared thoughts without having comprehension. Without really having comprehension. In the post, I very clearly said, I'm going to share my opinion. If you don't like that, you may leave. In my post, I very clearly said, I shared my thoughts and opinion. T didn't like it. Z didn't like it. The anonymous commenter living in white supremacist delusional land where fat phobia is okay and acceptable and good and right. They very clearly didn't like it. And I said, they can leave. Just because you're attracted to me, just because you like me, doesn't mean I have to like you back. Just because you subscribe to my YouTube channel, doesn't mean I have to like you back. I don't have to be the nice girl who sucks dick just because you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Just because you want to be my friend does not mean that I have to want to be your friend back. Just because you want to be around me does not mean that I have to want to be around you back. That is what I said. This Z person did not comprehend what I said. The T person on that live stream who got upset and offended because she made a statement that was rooted in the story of powerlessness, and I shared my thoughts and my perspective, that T person got upset and said, I'm a difficult person to have a conversation with. Because she commented, I don't have a choice. And I responded, that's an interesting thing to say. I would never say that I don't have a choice, because I always have a choice. She made a claim, I don't have a choice. I made a claim that was contrasting to that. I disagree that you don't have a choice. We always have a choice. I always have a choice. This is how I think, and this is how I feel, and this is how I show up, and this is how I live on my live stream. I get to do that. In the greater, bigger picture, T might be the person commenting on the live stream. T is not the only person on that live stream. Very clearly and obviously, whoever this Z person is was also there, but not commenting. I don't know the Z person. I don't talk to the Z person. I don't recognize the Z person at all. But they love my vids and they love my readings. I couldn't tell. I don't know who they are. And the first time they comment is to tell me they disagree with this one thing, but don't get mad. Okay. So what's the conversation that we're having here? T makes an argument. I make an opposing argument. And then I go on to back up my opposing argument with supportive evidence. Things that back up my claim. T doesn't have supportive evidence. T did not have supportive evidence. First it was, I don't have a choice. Then I say, that's really interesting that you would say that. I think we always have a choice. Insert tangent about choice and manifestation. We've talked about it a million times in this episode alone, right? T then responds and is like, I didn't mean it in that way. Which I then respond by saying, that doesn't make sense. That's another claim. I have supportive evidence. It doesn't make sense that you would say, I don't have a choice, but then not mean that you don't have a choice. When you say, I don't have a choice, you mean I am powerless. I have to do this thing against my will. That's what you're saying when you say, I don't have a choice. And that is a lie from the pits of hell. There could be multiple things that are influencing that choice, but at the end of the day, you still have a choice. And if you want to be the woman who is empowered, when you want to be the woman who is deliberately co-creating your fucking reality, you need to acknowledge you have that choice. Because when you acknowledge that you have the choice on whether or not to do something, you can either make a different choice and do something different, or you can get your energy more behind the current choice that you're making. So instead of, I don't have a choice, I'm powerless and I'm suffering as a result, I have to do things I don't want to do and I'm suffering as a result, you get to say, I'm choosing to do this thing right here and right now because it's helping me and supporting me to blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't say, I don't have a choice but to work the 9 to 5. I would say, I'm choosing to work the 9 to 5 because I appreciate the structure. I appreciate the financial stability that my 9 to 5 affords me. I appreciate that I'm able to pay my bills with the 9 to 5. And while I am choosing to continue working the 9 to 5, I'm also working on my side hustle on the side. That's empowerment. Versus, I hate this job, but I don't have a choice. I have to pay bills. That's powerless, right? In conversation, when you're talking with somebody who's compatible with you, they make a claim and you say, oh my God, yes, I agree. And that reminds me of this, 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 and this, and this. When people are having conversation, and it's not bullshit, surface level small talk. T is asserting, I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying something. I was just talking to talk. I was just talking out of the side of your fucking neck to me? I didn't mean it in that way. I was just saying random shit. That's a waste of everybody's fucking time if that's true. But I don't think that that's true because none of our thoughts are random, just like none of our emotions are random. There's no such thing as a random fucking thought. That doesn't make sense. Your brain is not random. This physical reality that we're living in is not random. I could go on and on and on and on and on about it, but we're already at 1 hour and 10 minutes, so we don't have the time. I am a brilliant woman. I make claims and I back them up. What's the song? Ego by Beyonce. I talk like this because I can back it up. I believe like this because I can back it up. I behave like this because I can back it up. When I'm having a conversation with somebody that I'm compatible with, the conversation looks like yes and building on top of it. When I'm having a conversation with somebody who I disagree with, when I'm having a conversation with somebody that I'm not compatible with, maybe not compatible to ever have a conversation with them again, maybe not compatible with them where we're agreeing on this particular topic. But when I'm having a conversation with someone who I don't agree with, I get to share that I don't agree with them. And I also get to share why. The T person didn't have a fucking argument. They made a statement that was rooted in powerless. They said they didn't mean it in that way. They were just saying random things, stringing random words together just for the sake of conversation. I said that doesn't make sense. They said I'm a difficult person to talk with. No. There's somebody who refuses to reflect. There's somebody who refuses to acknowledge what's alive within them. Me and this T person have had a previous history across multiple lives. We have had an experience where she has gotten a reading from me and I'm doing the reading and I'm saying what I'm seeing. And she's in the comment section saying, no, this isn't how I feel. Well, no, that's not really what I'm doing. And I had to assert, no, you're speaking from your ego, this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then later, in a live after that exchange, after that reading, she comes back, thank you so much. You do not have to agree with what I receive. You do not have to agree with what I think. You do not have to agree with what I feel. But just because you say, I disagree, does not mean that I have to back down. Just because you say, I disagree, does not mean that I have to change my mind. I receive what I receive, and I express what I receive, and I stand on that, 10 toes down. I don't know everything in the world, but I know what I know. I'm not defensive. I know how to curate an argument that is persuasive. If you do not have the ability to curate an argument that is persuasive, you're going to lose when you come up against me in conversation or in a debate every single fucking time. And that's on you. This is not just in conversations while I'm live on my YouTube. This is about being a business owner. This is about being a professional motherfucking woman. This is about being the HBBIC. When I am in my business, there's a million different people who are telling you a million different things. When you're working with people and you're collaborating with people, when you are getting marketing information from podcasts or from, posts on social media or from emails or from courses or from this or from that. There's a million people with a million different ways to do something, and they're all telling you that their way is the absolute best way. As a business owner, I cannot afford to be the kind of woman who goes wherever the wind motherfucking blows. As a business owner, as the leader of my mind, as the co-creator of my reality, as a CEO, I have to know how to build up a strong, unshakable conviction. As the woman with the receiver's mindset, I have to know how to build a strong and unshakable conviction. I have to be the woman who believes what she believes and who knows what she believes, who is strong in that. Because my physical reality, before it changes and shifts and aligns in my favor, and my new vibration is reflected in my bank account, or in my sales, or in my students, or in my audience members, I'm only going to see a reflection of my old way of being. My bank account will continue to be unsatisfactory until I dig my heels in and build out conviction around the story, until I build out the belief that I am worthy of and that I am on the other side having a bank account that looks sexy and fat and gorgeous just like me. HBBIC. I need a head big black bitch bank account. I need a H quadruple BAC. I'm the HBBIC with the H quadruple BAC. I'm the head big black bitch in charge with I guess we could take the H off of the second one with the big black bitchy bank account. Oh, I guess it doesn't have to be a C there. It would just be A. I got the quadruple BA. Big black bitchy bank account. Period. Tuvelo. Add an S to the accounts because it is multiple. Amen. You have to have conviction. Bitch, you have to believe. Beliefs are not flimsy. Beliefs do not flail in the wind. Beliefs are solid. In order to change a belief, you have to show up consistently over time. You build out a strong belief. You build out a strong conviction. You live in that energy. You repeat that story until it's a belief and it does not fucking move. You live in the world that tells you as a woman you can't succeed. You live in a world that tells you as a black woman your voice doesn't fucking matter. How many times in this exchange did I have so many people tell me, you're talking about things that I didn't ask? Bitch, you don't have to ask. This is my motherfucking platform. This is my motherfucking podcast. This is my motherfucking newsletter. Let me know if the monthly invoice for the automations and the email marketing is getting taken out of your account so we can sue my email provider, because the last time that I checked, that money is coming out of mine. If they've been double billing us, email me immediately. I'm not playing. Because if you know something I don't know, we need to have a much more important, bigger conversation. But as long as I'm paying the bills around this bitch, as long as I'm live streaming from my cell phone on my public platform that I built, you don't get to control and dictate what the fuck I talk about or how the fuck I respond or what tangents to 2.5s I go on. You get to control you. You get to control your focus. You get to control where you subscribe. You get to control where you watch. You don't get to control and dictate what I say. I'm building out conviction for myself, first and foremost. Me and this T person have had multiple conversations of her and that story of powerlessness that she's telling. She's still doing it. That's on her. But when you come around me and you come into my world, there's certain talk and there's certain ways of being that I'm not going to just ignore. Because I got a subconscious mind that I am reprogramming. I have supportive beliefs that I am solidifying anyway. When I'm talking on this fabulous, amazing, wonderful podcast, when I'm talking on a live stream, when I'm talking in a YouTube video, I'm talking for me. I'm teaching for me. As I talk and I tap into the energy and the vibration, my energy shifts. As I tell the story that I am powerful and I always have a choice and my reality is responding to me, my energy shifts. My conviction gets stronger. My metaphorical heels dig even deeper into the fucking sand. Everything is not just about what you think and what you want to say and the random words that just so happen to come out of your mouth. That's insane. Random generated words that have absolutely no meaning, absolutely no cause. This is the first I'm hearing of it. As a professional woman living in the world, there are people who are going to tell you that you have to be this and you have to do this and it has to get done this way or else it won't get done. But sometimes in your heart and in your soul, you know that there's something different. You know that there's something better. It feels like there's something more available and you have to be willing to believe in that. To be the co-creator of your reality, to be the woman who receives on demand, you have to be willing to believe when nothing in your physical reality is telling you that it's possible. I co-create the amazing shit that I co-create with God because I am willing to believe even when everything in my physical reality tells me that it's impossible. I was willing to believe even when the bank accounts were negative. I was willing to believe even when the bank accounts were closed and I just had no bank and I just had no cash flow in my life. You want to be the woman who fucking alchemizes. You want to be the woman who goes from the bottom to the top. You want to be the woman who, wherever, regardless of where it is that you're starting, you want to make it to the top. You want to be the best of the motherfucking best. You want to be the bitch who gets every single thing that she wants just because she wants it. You need to be a woman who has some fucking conviction, who has strength, who has power. You need to be the woman who knows how to argue in favor of her own receiving. You need to be the woman who knows how to argue in favor of her own worthiness. That is the woman that I am. You don't like it. You don't agree. You don't want to be around somebody who refuses to engage with or enable your stories of powerlessness. You can find someone else. Billions of people on planet Earth. There is an abundance of them who are willing to entertain and to yes and in response to your stories of powerlessness. I am not one of them. You want to be in my life? You want to be in my world? You want to be a member of my community? It's going to be the best fit for the woman who is committed to co-creating her emotionally fulfilled and purpose-driven life. It's going to be the best fit for the woman who is ready to identify and shift any story saying she can't win. The kind of woman who's saying, I can't do it, and giving up and settling. You're not a good fit for my community. That's okay. The woman who gives up and is willing to suffer, you're not a good fit for my community. We are fundamentally different. I was never the kind of woman who could do what she didn't want to do. And it created a lot of difficulties for me in my early life. And now as an adult woman, I thank God because I have the capacity to be so incredibly stubborn. And that is a quality that you need when you're going to deliberately co-create the life and reality of your dreams. Being the woman who is committed to telling the story of powerlessness. So much so that when somebody is telling you a challenging story or concept or principle that can actually help you, you're fighting against them, saying they're a difficult person to have a conversation with. That kind of woman does not need to be here. That's okay. I don't have to pretend that I want you here just because you like or you share or you comment or subscribe or you've given me $25. I don't have to like anyone. I don't have to want to be around anyone. I am not obligated to be your friend or your homegirl. Would I like for us to be friends and homegirls? Absolutely. And if you're a diva like me, I'm sure we will be. But I don't force compatibility. I don't need everybody to like me. That's okay. Last thing that I will say is this. As the woman who debates, as the woman who has claims and beliefs, when I'm working with people in my business, whether it's my assistant or I'm working and collaborating with someone, they're helping me, I have a copywriter who's helping me, and we're creating email funnel systems and all this stuff. She's showing up, she's providing a structure of a particular thing, and I'm going, I don't like this order of the email. I don't really want to do an email on this. I don't want to do an email of Q&A on the blah, blah, blah. And so I send her a message and I'm like, I don't want to do a Q&A because of this and this and this and this and this. If you disagree, let me know. I'm feeling very firm about this, but let me know your perspective. She says, okay, well, I understand you don't want to do this and this and this and this and this. I would recommend doing this and this and this. But it's your shit at the end of the day. We can do whatever you like. And then I end up responding and saying, hey, instead of doing a Q&A, why don't we do this is who it's for, this is who it's not for. That feels better. She goes, yeah, that's brilliant. That works. When you're the woman who doesn't have conviction and you're the woman who is willing to abandon herself just to make other people happy, you are flimsy and you are weak. And the world will step all over you, and you will continue to find yourself in situations where you're going, nobody ever listens to me. Nobody ever blah, 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 blah. It's because you don't listen to you. You don't stand up for you. You don't fight for you. You don't advocate for you. And if you're the kind of woman who doesn't fight for herself and you're the kind of woman who doesn't advocate for herself, we were never going to get along. Because I'm going to do that. That doesn't make me defensive. That doesn't make me someone who doesn't accept the opinions of others. I'm a woman who knows how to craft a persuasive argument. And when you come to me and say, we need to change the systems in your business, we need to do something like this and like this and like this, I'm going to say, no, I don't want to do that. Because this is going to be an extra fee and I'm going to have to do this and this and this. And I don't want to do keywords like this. And why would I have somebody commenting a keyword to have a DM sent to them because it's quote unquote less steps, but it's not that many less fucking steps. You still have to go to your DMs and accept the DM fucking request. And then you're going to click the link in the DM when you could literally just go to my profile and click the link in the fucking profile and get the goddamn thing. And if you're the kind of woman who is going to be deterred from enrolling in a course just because you are required to click my profile and then click the link, you are not the kind of woman who is going to thrive when enrolling in my courses. You need a little bit more tenacity to roll with me. Amen? So no, we're not going to do the mini chat, blah, 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 blah. I have my beliefs, I have my thoughts, I have my convictions. That does not mean I'm not willing to change. That does not mean I'm not willing to admit when I'm wrong. That means you're not going to persuade me by saying, and you're just a meanie. You're not going to persuade me by saying that I'm rude. She said, you did this to someone else. They were commenting just trying to be a supporter, and you blah, 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 blah. I know exactly what T was referencing when she said this. A couple of weeks ago, at some point, it was live on YouTube. Somebody commented, hey, can you do a pick a card reading on blah, 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 blah topic? And I said, no, I don't take requests. And I also don't believe that you should ask Black women for free labor. We do need to get out of the fucking habit of asking Black women for free labor. You're a difficult person to have conversations with. We're just trying to support you and blah, 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 blah. I don't have to suck dick because you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Dobby is a free elf. You should know that. She said, can you do a pick a card reading on blah, 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 blah? I said no. If you're asking me to do a reading on a particular topic, that means you see value in the work that I do, and you want to receive more of the valuable work that I do. And what do we do when we see value in someone else and we want to receive more of that value? That's right. We pay them. We pay them money. I was live on YouTube offering $25 readings. It's in the title. I was there on YouTube offering to give my valuable work in exchange for payment. And they commented, hey, can you do something for free? In what world is that not disrespectful? Did I cuss? Did I scream? No. I said, I don't take requests. I do pick a card readings on topics that I'm inspired to do. And also, we shouldn't ask Black women for free labor. This is what I believe. You know, we shouldn't ask anybody for free labor and also slavery. I feel that Black women have done enough for free. Don't you? And then the person comments and they're like, oh, I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. I didn't say you meant it in a disrespectful way. Did I consider it to be disrespectful? Yes. But did I think that they were intending to be disrespectful? No. But I'm going to share how I genuinely and authentically feel. And if there's somebody watching the replay, or maybe that particular woman, maybe that tidbit and maybe that seed planted and maybe that mindset shift is going to help her. How many Black women are working jobs right here and right now where they're doing their job and somebody else's job and somebody else's job and somebody else's job because motherfuckers are too comfortable asking Black women for free labor? I might be fat, I might be fabulous, I might be Black, but I'm not your motherfucking mammy. You have to pay me. Period. That's how I live. That is a reflection of my self-worth. And if my self-worth and the expression of that self-worth doesn't work for you, you can leave. That's okay. You don't have to consider me somebody who's easy to talk to. That was never a requirement. I'm not here to be easy to talk to you. I'm here to help you transform your motherfucking life. I'm not here to be easy to talk to. I'm here to help you become an empowered woman. I'm here to help you establish some self-worth. I'm here to help you build out some self-esteem. And does that mean sometimes I may express myself in a way that you feel is challenging? Does that mean I'm going to challenge your unsupportive thoughts and beliefs? Of course. If you don't like that, if you don't want to be challenged, you do not want to be around me, that's okay. You can act accordingly. But asking me to change, or saying, oh, you're so defensive when other people have a different opinion than you. I know how to craft an argument. I don't do things and take action for no fucking reason. There are multiple reasons why I make the choices and decisions that I make. And when I feel to do so, I'll share those with you, like we're doing in today's podcast episode. I'm not angry, defensive, black woman, so scary. I am brilliant, and I'm incredibly intelligent. I know how to present an argument, a thesis, and a claim, and I know how to back that up with evidence. I know how to build conviction. This is why I believe that I am right. That is called being the leader of my mind. And if you tried it, you would probably be having a better life experience. Instead of, you're mean. Your business is going to fail because you have a bad attitude. Wrong. My business is going to succeed, is succeeding, and will continue to succeed because a bitch like me knows how to build conviction. Because I'm the leader of my mind, and my beliefs are not shaken, and my faith is not altered. Because somebody who has a brain the size of a pea, or somebody who lacks reading comprehension skills, or somebody who refuses to look at and address their own shit, just because they're upset, just because they're mad, just because they disagree. You don't have to think I deserve a motherfucking thing. I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman. Sexy Sulan, black American princess. Nothing about what I have in my life has come because of the white supremacist delusional regime deciding one day that I deserve to have a good life. Not my freedom, not my capacity to vote, not my ability to have a bank account, not my ability to speak my motherfucking mind. Every single right that I have, that I exercise to this day, is the consequence of the fighting, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the free, unpaid labor, the enslavement, the death of the people who have come before me. I am a firm believer that you must use this shit or else you will lose this shit. You must exercise your right to vote or you will lose it. Hello. You must exercise your right to speak as a woman, as a black woman, as a woman of color. You must utilize your voice and your capacity to speak. Otherwise, you will lose it. You must exercise your right to show up authentically in the world, or you will lose it. Meaning, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who don't see you, who don't listen to you, who don't care for you, who don't respond to you. And of course you will, because that's how you treat yourself when you don't show up authentically. You sacrifice yourself to make other people happy. Lame. And it's the way that we're all trained, and it's something that we must deliberately unlearn. But that's what this conversation is about. They can think that you're defensive, and they can think that you're argumentative, and they can think that you're unpleasant. They can think whatever the fuck they want to think. But I'm letting you know, if I had to choose between being liked by everyone and being a highly paid bad bitch who transforms her life and the lives of women all across the globe, I think we can all guess which one I would choose. To end this episode, we must quote Beyonce in her hit song, Who Run the World? Girls. In that song, she says, I hope you still like me. And then she says, F you, pay me. It's a conversation about, I hope you like me. I hope you think I'm nice. I'm people pleasing because I don't want people to think that I'm a bitch, and I don't want people to think that I'm mean, and I just want everybody to like me. Switching from that energy to fuck you, pay me. I don't give a fuck about whether or not you like me, pay me, or fuck off. I deserve to be taken care of. I deserve to be seen. I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be respected. I deserve to express myself authentically, period. And the baddest bitches in the world, the wealthiest bitches in the world, the most amazing, inspiring CEOs who I know, who I connect with, who I speak with, who I learn from. They are genuine and they are authentic. They share what is alive within them. And they change their own life, and they change the lives of others, and they change the lives of women like me who learn from them as well. That's the kind of source of inspiration I want to be in my life. That's my job. Not to be a quote unquote easy person to have a conversation with. That's the conversation. And if you want to know my process for building out conviction and receiving on demand, check out the Receiver's Mindset course. It's super good and amazing, and it's open for enrollment. You can click the link in the description box or the show notes to learn more and enroll. I love you so much. Thanks for listening. Rate the podcast 5 stars, unless you don't want to rate it 5 stars, and then you don't have to do nothing. Don't even worry about it. Okay, bye.